Hey guys, this is London Gray with the Grade 3 Podcast, and here we have our special guest, Alicia, with Alicia Dion Beauty.
Hi guys.
So, tell me, I know you are an esthetician, but let us know what brought you to this journey of entrepreneurship.
Wow. Let's see. I'm gonna try to just shorten it. I was basically working at a law firm, had been working there for a couple years, attempted to move up in the company, saw that I wasn't going to move up, didn't matter how much time I put in, how much effort I excelled in each position. This is exactly where they want to keep you. And I knew I wanted more, but I had already went to school. I didn't want to do that again. So I kind of just asked myself, what is it do I like doing, or what could I do every day that satisfied me? And so at the time it was makeup. So I wanted to expand my makeup skills. So I started to look for schools to help cater to areas I was trying to be better at. And then I came across the word esthetician. Never in my life have I heard of an esthetician. And then I remember going to Google to see how to pronounce it, because like I said, never knew what it was, but I saw that in order for me to use financial aid, I would need to go to a school that qualified for it. And for the makeup schools, they were cash, and I couldn't afford that. Married with a child at the time. So I said skincare, makeup, they go hand
together,
in hand.
right?
Exactly. And so I enrolled at Elaine Sterling as a nighttime student.
Okay. I'm like, that is tremendous. And that is, like, I think a great accomplishment as a new mom and a wife, and just so much underneath your belt that a lot of women, we don't get that glory sometimes, that praise, that, that is just that you're going to school and you're doing this and doing that. So I think that's like super awesome that you were able to just juggle all of that. So did you have a support system like through school during that time?
So my family is scattered around, but my husband during that time, he became mother and father, because I started my full-time job at 7:00. I didn't leave there until 4:30, had to be to school at 5. School didn't get out until 10:00. And so that was my schedule for over a year. And then before I graduated, I had already signed me a lease at a building. So then Alicia Dion started right after that. And so it's just...
It was like a snowball effect, pretty much. Okay. So I want to know, are there any problems that you're currently trying to solve, or that you have solved in your field of work of become, like, as an esthetician?
Yes. So it's one of those where when you're dealing with the skin, period, the body is always changing. So there's always new products and new treatments and a new way of doing things. But I'll say, as an esthetician, more so as a business owner.
Okay, as a business owner.
I would say I made more... it's hard to say mistakes when you didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I mean, I get that, because I feel like as an entrepreneur, we're all just trying to figure this shit out.
Exactly.
So it
was a lot of times more so me just figuring it out and just taking that risk, and then realizing when taking that, now someone's able to explain, because of that, this is why. And so then I did the opposite, but I feel like just being a business owner, I can go on. I have a list of different things. We don't got time for it. But I'll say one thing I didn't like was that even though we spent as much money as I spent in aesthetic school, they didn't prepare us to actually work for ourselves, nor how to start a business.
Right.
They taught us to work for another spa. So therefore, when it comes down to getting a business account, a EIN, LLC, all of those things, you're learning just by Google, just from reading. And then you're being misled as well because you have those social media people that are trying to just rip you off on lies. So through all of that, I feel like
you were able to navigate through it all. And that's another thing. Social media is very tricky because you have some information that can be trusted.
Yeah.
And then you have some that just is kind of like, okay, I think this works.
Yeah.
What complexion am I? Okay, this kind of suits me. Because even when I'm in Ulta or somewhere, or even, you know, just a simple like CVS or something, and I'm looking for something for my skin, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is, and I start Googling, I go on Pinterest, and I go from here to here, and I end up on so many different links because I'm trying to figure out what is good for my skin and how can I improve the hyperpigmentation. That's a huge word that I have a tough time struggling with. Anyways, but yeah, I just feel like just navigating through all of that is like really hard.
And especially today, only because you have so many influencers. And I hate to, because it's one of those where, and even myself, I got caught up in watching the YouTube videos on how and what products they use, feeling like my skin, I can use exactly what she used. Her skin is clear. Yeah. She said the breakouts went away. And as you can see, that's not true.
No, oh my gosh. So let me tell you this story. So my mom put me on to this skin product and she said, oh my gosh, it works wonders. I'm glowing, I feel like butter. And I was just like, okay. I was like, my inner mind is just like, girl, don't you do it. And then I was like, I have a curious side. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and try it. I ordered it, came. The next day, I was like red and swollen. I was like, okay, no, I can't deviate. I cannot deviate. Whatever works for you, and you know your body. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
So I want to know exactly when you're not really working, right? And you put down the towel and, you know, you put the towel in and you close the lock to your shop. Like, who are you? And like, what inspires you to just become the best version of you?
Wow. I'm so glad you asked me this right after therapy. Because
okay, we can talk about therapy next because I got a story for you.
But no, that's one thing I can honestly say I struggled with because when your everyday is boom, 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 it's hard for you to figure out who you are, especially if it's so routine. So I find that now I am able to say that Alicia is someone who realized that I don't like to stay still. I am not an introvert as I thought. I like to be outside. I love yoga. I did that this morning. Yeah, I don't know why it's always so weird talking about yourself, but
it's because it's touchy, and like sometimes we don't always get that moment to be vulnerable with someone else. Right. And you know, being vulnerable is such a huge word and a huge act to kind of like, okay, I'm gonna try it. Right. And then you like, you pull back, you know. And with learning, speaking of therapy, you touched on that a little bit. I also went through therapy too, and it was just like, I broke down like my first session. I was like, whoa, this is too much. But it allowed me to unravel those parts to figuring out, okay, the root, the stem, who are you? Right. What, like, where are you going? What is your destination? And figuring that out as an entrepreneur, that gray area that people don't get to see day in, day out, whether you're crying, you're trying to figure it out financially, you got to take care of your kids or husband or partner, or whatever that looks like at home, is kind of like it's like layers. It's like so many layers.
I feel like for women, it's one of those where I find just working with women daily, it seems that we are conditioned to feel like this is what life is supposed to be. So then we take on I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. And then we don't really take that time to really, and that's why we feel, I don't know, lost, confused, tired, drained. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get that, because it's just like sometimes as a mom or as a wife or a partner, it's like sometimes you don't get to feel sexy as you used to when you used to go out with your friends, you know, or when you don't, when there's not, I don't feel like when there's not the open communication there, to say, hey, I need a day.
Right.
I need to go feel sexy. I need to go spread my wings for a couple hours, you know, and sometimes you feel, you may resent it later on if you don't say it.
Right.
And if you do say it, you don't want, like, oh, I don't want to put the wrong impression out there.
Right.
I want them to know that I still love them, but so how does that work out for you? Because I don't know, like that's just it's a thin line.
It is, and it's really hard. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But what I have realized is learning how to prioritize my time, and that it is okay to be selfish too. Because I used to feel bad for doing, like, oh, I've been working so much, so I can't take this time away. But then I realized that if I don't, then I don't feel complete. Even like this morning, like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go walking. I do want to go to yoga, but I also have something else to do at 3 o'clock. I do have therapy. My husband have been with the kids every single day because he worked from home. But I still know that I still need these things in order for me to be there for them in the ways that they need me every single day. Wow. But it is still a struggle. But I see by doing that, it is helping me.
No, absolutely. And as women, we naturally givers. We give. We constantly give and give and give, and then we're pooped at the end of the day, and we're just like, okay.
Right.
And then sometimes we wait a little too long for us to say something or speak on it, like, hey, I've been at work, you know, or hey, I'm wiped out.
And I can be a tick, 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 tick. Boom.
And nobody likes the boom part. Nobody likes the boom. It's definitely a topic that needs to be expressed and just kind of nurtured when it comes to women, entrepreneurs.
Right.
You know, I definitely feel like we need to be able to learn how to communicate that better. And you know, it's okay to be selfish. Man or woman, if you're an entrepreneur, I definitely feel like you owe your time. You owe yourself that.
Right. But I've also noticed that being an entrepreneur, I do feel as though I am made to feel like I can't complain. Because at least you work for yourself, though. It's always. And so it's just kind of like, yeah.
But do you know what that entails?
Right. Like, do you know that I carry Alicia Dion every day versus Monday through Friday, 9 to 5? And I can't shut it off because that's not how this train rolls. No. At least not until I'm able to put it in autopilot.
Right. A lot of people don't understand that the long work schedules, you know, the content creation, you know, whether you're up at 1 a.m. and you got to get back up because you got to do a facial at 8 a.m. You know, it's just like that. There's never, like, you can't just clock out and put it on the door at 5 unless you say, hey, I'm going on vacation and this is my time. Like, you know, and you have to let that be known all across medias because that's how I found you too. But yeah, I mean, just everything that entails, especially with social media now, the new yellow pages of everything, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. It's like an ongoing cycle, you know, when you have to deal with your finances and scheduling and booking and the actual services that you provide. And so, yeah, it's definitely a whirlwind of everything comes with being up. That's a whole nother boat. That's a whole nother boat. So what is the best business advice you've ever received that you have applied?
that any investment in myself is never a bad investment. Because in that, I've learned some type of lesson, and I'm able to pivot off of each one. Whether it was a waste of time or I felt like I still was able to pull something from it. And I will always continue to invest in myself if no one else will. And when they hearing that or being told that, it just stuck with me.
And you know what's funny? So DJ Khaled just put out that new, I don't know if you heard it yet. And he said, shame on you for not believing in me, but God did. Now that was super funny to me, but I get it. It's just like, and you know his voice, you know that voice, the hype man voice, but
it's like I can hear it.
Right. And you know, the funny part of it is just like, you are the only person that can put all of that energy into you.
Right.
And sometimes you cannot wait for the other person to clap their hands or to pay that amount or to trust you. You know, you can't make them, but just seeing that you betting on yourself, you taking that risk and that leap of faith like into yourself, then like, oh wow. I see her story. I can understand. Now I can stand behind that. So it's just like you are the representative for your brand all across the board.
Because I remember while working at that law firm, being an esthetician, having to explain it and being like, facials. Like, yeah, facials. You want to come and get a free one? Or I would come in and then next thing you know, I start working for myself. Never in my life did I imagine ever working for myself. But then now realizing, wow, I've just been working for myself 6 months. I've doubled my salary. And now coming to tell my coworkers, and they're looking at you like, and what do you do again? You know exactly what it is that I do. But to you, it didn't make sense. And to a lot of family members, it didn't make sense either. Because how is it lucrative? And so it was one of those where it's like that constant, you have to continue to tell yourself, it makes sense to me. I can do this. Even though today I didn't get any clients or I only have one client. I would lie to you if I didn't say every month I'm looking for a full book. And when it's less than the last, I feel away, but I have to remind myself that that's what it was that month. It's not going to always. So it's like you have to continue to pour into yourself.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
listening to the negatives can definitely
discourage you. And like even with me, you know, there's times along this journey of trying to get here, this podcast or my marketing, and it's just like, okay, London, you got this girl, you got this, pull it together. I'm like, mind you, I've just posted something on my social media page for my business, and I probably was crying 3 hours later, like, I don't know what's going to happen. I ain't get a client yet, but I'll figure it out. So, I mean, it's all about definitely pouring into yourself, loving yourself, and just making sure that you understand your value, because once you understand and you walk that walk, people are more likely to want to hear your story and see what you have going on and just like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And then, you know, the more and more I tell my story to people, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And like, even for you, you know, once people get to understand that, they get to appreciate it. And it's about adding value. I feel like this is all about adding value to someone else's life, the service, the process of it all. Because once you're able to do that for someone else, it's no longer about you. You know, and you switch the narrative, you switch the focus, you switch the perspective, and then your mindset changes, and there's a shift, and then now your bank account is like, whoa, you know, and it's just like you were doing it to add value, and now that you set your bar, and now look at you now, you know, so it comes full circle all the time.
Yes.
Hey, this is London Gray with the Gray Theory Podcast. We are available on all platforms, so come check us out and see what's great. Hey guys, we have the fan favorite here in this bowl, and anything in this bowl is not gonna be gray, it's either gonna be black or white. So, are you ready? You gotta take a sip. Are you ready? You wanna pick up your wine glass? Okay, cool. Let's go. So we have the first question here. Okay, what are your thoughts on color lash extensions that are out now? I see a lot with the blue and the pink.
Okay.
What is your...
They've actually been out for a while. I don't dislike them. I find them, because when they first came out, when I first started years ago, I remember having like brown or a little. I am not comfortable with color. Don't knock anyone that does, but I'm here for it.
Okay, because now I'm seeing it more and more, like a lot of pink and blue, like, oh, I'm gonna
Yeah,
my
I definitely
birthday,
see a
and
lot
it's
of
just
pink and
like
blue.
every day, but first, like, there was like the whole strip colors, and now there's like individuals, and a little bit, it kind of made me uncomfortable.
So wait, we mean like the entire lash, or like?
Because they have the fillers.
Because I've seen the ombre.
I've seen the ombre, and I've seen the underneath. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
But you mean like the full?
the both of them.
Okay.
Both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't prep.
Not for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it either.
But I've seen it on certain people, and it's been very subtle and not too much.
Yeah.
But then other times,
like, at the end, maybe.
yes. And I'm talking about only on the ends.
Okay.
Like, it's just a hint of color.
Yeah, it's like sometimes if you look to the left, you look to the right, you don't even know if it's there.
Exactly.
But in the picture, you're like, oh, she got a little makeup. Yeah, so that's the color that I like. Yeah, that's the
But
color.
other than that, no.
Okay, next question. So around Valentine's Day, do you feel like you get more business when it comes into like that beauty field? Like, people want to treat their lady or man to like a facial? Like, what's that? Like, do you feel like that it's kind of like an influx for you?
Yes. And it's crazy because I've had women send their men in for them to get the facial. Versus more of the other way around.
Okay, do you think it's a subliminal message? Like, okay, look, babe,
this is something I'm interested in. Now, sometimes it's kind of like 50-50, because I've had it to where you're a client and it's your man. But then there's other times where she's never been here at all. Which I always kind of, especially if their skin doesn't need it, but I guess it could be you just want to pamper your man.
Okay.
So, yeah. Right.
Next question. Do you think it's crossing the line if you want to introduce your partner to a new skincare routine and you see what they have going on is not particularly working?
No.
Okay. What's your
man needs to have some type of hygiene.
Okay. So but
honestly, nowadays they know more than we do. Or a lot of men do have a routine. I've had clients that are aggressive on sticking to it, especially once they start to see that it's working.
Right.
But no, definitely let them.
Because I think sometimes with men, it's like you have to trust the process. Like, okay, they are very logical. They need to be shown some certain things. So I feel like sometimes it works. And once they get into it, they like, oh yeah, exfoliated, I'm all about it.
Right.
And it's so cute. I love it.
And they're using your products.
Right. Like, oh, what's that? You got a new apricot? It's super funny to me. Okay, next question. So if you're going out on a date night, what's your go-to, makeup or no makeup?
It depends. So since I rarely wear makeup nowadays, it's only when I am doing something. So I'm wearing makeup. Yes, I'm wearing makeup.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends, because we were just out and I didn't have on anything. It depends on what type of day it is. If it's nightlife, I more than likely will. Okay. If it's something during the day, grabbing lunch or something like that, then probably no.
Okay, I can understand that.
Depending on the vibe.
It depending on the vibe. Okay, because I was just about to say, because I know sometimes it could be. I just feel like sometimes it's a romantic setting. You want to put a little into what you look like. You want to, it's like as a
it, kind of.
Yeah, it spruces everything up. It makes the moment. And then sometimes guys could be a little pushy, like, oh, I don't want to go much. Like if you get a little physical at the dinner table, maybe something. But then it's just like, then they kind of complain about the makeup thing. And I'm just like, this is a treat. I'm trying to be cute. So yeah, I guess it depends for me too. Like if they want to make makeup and just
I got the time for it, so I feel like
that's another thing too. The time that you put into actually sitting in front of the mirror and doing your makeup, like I don't think people understand.
It's okay. So I think for me, since I've been doing my makeup for a while, this was like 10-15 minutes.
Okay.
Because
you know what you want to look like.
Because I know what I want to look like. Now, if I was like, all right, I got some time, yes, I will be there at least an hour and a half, no lie.
Okay. Because that's how I feel too. Depending on like today, it was like an hour. I'm gonna take my time. I'm putting some music,
and I'm rushing. I had too many. But yes.
Right. But I understand. And then I feel like this new hack that I've been trying is kind of like the concealer, blush, mascara, maybe a lash, and it's just like it's not too much. And I'm just like I'm super proud of my skin that I'm able to do this. Because once at a point in time, I was like, I gotta cover up some stuff because it's not going to mesh well.
Like color correct?
Yes, like color corrected and like I got to do all those different steps. So
you did color correct today?
Oh,
I did.
I'm proud of the
progress
of the transition that I've made. Okay, so next question: do you think giving? Do you think? Oh wait. Okay. Do you believe that giving your partner a facial is considered like an intimate act, like a different level of intimacy when you're like, say, if you want to do something special or anything?
Yes. Very much so. Of course, setting matters, but if you want to make it intimate, you can definitely do that, especially if your partner love language is physical touch.
Okay.
That makes it even more easier for you to be able to intertwine and emotionally, physically, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, because I feel like, okay, so my love language is, I would say, acts of service. And I think that too. Over the course of time, you realize like, that don't really do it for me no more. Yes. I think you need to do something else. So I definitely... And it's just like acts of service, words of affirmation, is starting to be, and then I need your presence. So I got like top 3. Like I need your time. I need quality time. Like I need you here. Like phones off. Like I'm that type of person. I'm just like, all right, phones off. Like, and it was not like we have to have like a deep conversation. Right. It's just we're engaged into each other. And I definitely feel like, sometimes we miss out on a lot about our partner. So if we're listening or we're not really paying attention to their needs or what's going on throughout the week or the day or what happened that month. Right. I definitely feel like that's a time to like reconnect and like, okay, we had both been at our peak, whether you're both entrepreneurs or you're working a 9 to 5, I'm an entrepreneur. Like we can meet somewhere in the middle and say, hey, what's up?
And let's just
decompress.
Yes, together in any way necessary.
Yes, and I think that's good. And I think more couples should try it, and I think it's a balance,
right? Because you don't necessarily have to have a table. You can use your couch. You can use your bed. You can use the floor. Like, be creative.
I actually seen this one where they did like a whole paint and sip in their living room. And it's like, nowadays, you want to be creative sometimes. You don't want to spend an arm and a leg.
The pillows on the floor. Get the little canvases from Dollar Tree.
Right. And you can just create your own vibe within the house, especially if, you have kids and you don't have a babysitter. Right. Like send them upstairs. Like, all right, night. Probably put a chair against the door so they won't come out. And I'm just
Listen.
But I think that's super cool. That's super cool. But thank you so much for joining the Fan Favorite. So let us know where you can find you.
So you can find me on Instagram what's my Instagram? At Alicia Dion #beauty. Also on Facebook, Alicia Dion Beauty. Or my website on aliciadion.com. But yeah.
Okay, well, I want to say it was such a pleasure having you. And that is it for us. We are available on all platforms. Again, this is the Great Theory Podcast. I'm London Gray, your host, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Great Theory Podcast. We're available on all platforms. Stay tuned for next week's episode, and let's see what's great.